In my last video, I made a kind of strange proposal that when we die, we should pledge to donate everything, our smartphones, our search histories, our location data, even forensic data, for research purposes. I called it digital organ donation. And I said I want to become a digital Lucy. You know Lucy, right? The 3.2 million-year-old Australopithecus fossil discovered in Ethiopia in 1974. Lucy wasn't trying to leave anything behind. She just lived and died. But thanks to a handful of her bone fragments, humanity has been able to reconstruct its way of life from millions of years ago. Part 1. The bias in medieval music records. When you study medieval Western music history, you start to feel how skewed the repertoire is. Gregorian chant, organum, motet, cyclic mass, all church music. But think about it. Did medieval people really listen to chant all day long? There must have been songs people sang in marketplaces, in taverns, at festivals. Love songs, drinking songs, songs laced with curses, songs mocking the ruling class. We know such music actually exists. Fragmentary records remain. Have you heard of Carmina Burana? It's a manuscript discovered in a 13th century monastery, and it's packed with drinking songs, gambling songs, erotic love songs, even though it was found in a monastery. This survived by accident. Most didn't, because there was no reason to record them. No, more precisely, they weren't allowed to be recorded. Part 2. What was lost? The people who recorded music in the medieval era were mostly clergy. Parchment was expensive, and copying scores required highly specialized skill, which means the people who could do it were inside the church. So naturally, only the music the church judged worthwhile got. What about secular music with obscene lyrics? Musically, it was often even more complex. Passed down orally among the common people, its harmony and rhythm developed freely. But the lyrics were the problem. The content couldn't be written down. The result is that the medieval music history we've inherited is a history of the music the church permitted, not a history of the music medieval people actually listened to. Part 3. How historians try to reconstruct this. So microhistorians use very indirect methods. They search church records for documents saying this kind of music is banned, because if something was banned, that means it existed. They dig through trial records. They infer the existence of a song from records of someone being punished for singing something obscene. They reverse decode texts where obscene content was lightly sanitized in transcription. Do you know how grueling this work is? We know it existed. We have a rough sense of the content, but what the actual melody was, how it was sung, what people felt while listening to it, that we can never know, because there are no records. Part 4. Standards of value. One important question here: was it a mistaken judgment for medieval clergy not to record secular music? by the standards of their time. No. They judged it obscene, irreverent, not worth preserving. Within the value system of their era, it was a perfectly rational decision. The problem is, standards of value change. Now we lament that loss. The materials that could have shown us the actual lives of medieval commoners, their desires, their humor, their sense of resistance, are gone. And this same logic applies to the present. The things judged unworthy of recording in our era, or things so obscene and shameful that no one wants to preserve them, think about what those might be. B.L. Doujinshi, Yuri Doujinshi. Alps. Fanfic based on real-life celebrities or politicians. By current standards, they are obscene, they have copyright problems, they are unpleasant from the subject's point of view, they sit in a legal gray zone. But wait a second. Medieval secular music was exactly the same by the standards of its time. Part 5. If a future demand arises. Let me imagine one hypothetical 200 years from now. A researcher is studying the relationship between popular culture and political satire in 2020's Korea. What this researcher has zeroed in on is Alpes fanfic based on real people which was being produced in explosive quantities at the time. Because contained inside this genre, in their rawest form, are the era's political sensibilities, the desires and mockery directed at power, the shifts in gender awareness, the modes of pop culture consumption. Just as medieval secular music held the most vivid record of common people's lives in its own time. But there's a problem. There's no material left. Most of the orbs produced in the 2020s was deleted by platforms, erased by the authors themselves, or vanished when services shut down. Reception history materials showing how the people of that time consumed it, what emotions they read it with, in what contexts it circulated are even more non-existent. What if at that point, by sheer luck, the bulk forensic data from the smartphone of one Mr. Gehu lived in 2026 Korea were still intact? If, which LPs are read, how often, which message boards, and what reactions are left there, what other information A was browsing alongside that consumption, if all of it remained as data. That researcher could lift reception history research to an entirely new dimension. Just as medieval researchers go wild over a single copy of Carmina Burana, future researchers might go wild over a single bundle of A's forensic data. Part 6. Right now, we are systematically erasing it. But here's what's happening right now. We are doing exactly the same thing medieval clergy did when they didn't record secular music. Only the reason is different. In the medieval era, power refused to record what was obscene. Now individuals erase it themselves, out of shame, out of legal risk, out of fear of harming the people involved, out of fear of being found out later. The result is the same. Loss. The phrase digital funeral is spreading like a trend. Erase all your digital traces before you die. Your search history, your DMs, your mistakes, I understand that impulse. But the things we are erasing right now, those could be the materials the future needs most. Closing. I want to sign the digital organ donation pledge. How my data gets used, I'll leave that to future generations. If they don't need it, they can discard it. I just want to leave the possibility open. The dirty songs medieval people sang are gone. What we are hiding right now could become the future's Carmina Burana. Just think once before you erase.